I don't care who you are, how protective, how prepared your kids are. And this goes for your sons. They're going to be put in a situation where they're tested. They're going to be put in a situation where they need help. And if they don't have the trust where dad, I got to call my dad. That's all I want in life. Dad, I'm on the drop me a pin. She knows you don't even have to call. You don't even have to text. If I have a pin dropped in my text message, I'm out the door on the way. And that's how my daughters know that dad will always be there. Dad's never going to question it. And those are those really tough conversations of sitting down at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night on their bed, talking to them
Mhm.
about whatever their little problems are from a young age. And this isn't something that you could just sit down on your 15-year-old daughter's bed one day and be like, all right, kiddo, what's going on in your life? It doesn't work like that. So for the young dads out there, get on it now.
What is up, my friends? Welcome to Fatherhood Field Notes podcast, where I interview incredible fathers, gaining wisdom from their stories for you and I to grow in our own craft of fatherhood. This is your guide, Ned Shout, father to 5 kiddos, currently ages 13 to 20, and husband to my rad wife, Sarah, working on our 22nd year of marriage. So yes, I am in the thick of this with you, and I am rebelling daily against the low expectations set for fathers and creating a world where fathers know who they are as they show up for their families. You and I truly have the greatest opportunity to impact our world through the way we embrace our fatherhood role. And the role of the father is to serve, guide, steward, protect, and of course, find joy and have fun in the messiness of it all. Today's guest is my new friend, Bam Marshall. He's a father, husband, business leader. He is a podcast host of the Wild Chaos podcast. He is passionate, he is tough, and he adores his daughters and his wife. Enjoy hearing the perspective of my friend, Bam. All right, Bam, what is up, my friend? Welcome to Fatherhood Field Notes. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, man. How are you?
I am feeling really good, actually. Yeah, life is insane at the moment, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
How old do you find yourself today?
I'm almost 42.
Heck yeah.
Almost 42 years old. Turned 42 in August. So yeah, it's climbing.
Let's go. How does 42 feel? Or
I
almost
feel
42
incredible,
feel?
man. I feel incredible. I'm actually just I'll kind of finished a 90-day fitness challenge, but I'm gonna roll 173 days total. But I started this. I have a small community for men, and so we did a 90-day fitness challenge to get a bunch of guys ready for summer. And everybody did so well at it, lost so much weight, they want to run a second 90. So
Mhm.
everyone's like, let's run it back. So I was gonna go technically to my birthday, August 30th, because I made a goal to myself that I want to just be a shredded machine and bring back my prime in my 40s. And so that's what jump started this whole entire thing. So it started with a 12-day water fast at 255 pounds. And then, yeah, that was just a little over 100 days ago. And so, yeah, I've taken a few days off and then we're right back into it. We're going to do another 90.
That's what's up. I had like a guy who was 50. This is 3 years ago. I had a 50-year-old on my podcast who looked like a beast. And he had this goal of like when he turned 40, he was going to get shredded. And then he did it every year on his birthday. And at 50, he looked like a boss. And so I think I was 30. I'm 42 now. So I was like 38 and I was almost 39 at the time. So I did that. So on my 40th birthday, I was like the most shredded I ever looked. It was so fun. And then I've hung on to it for to a degree. I mean, I train, 4 or 5 days a week, but I'm less about the, total shredded to lifestyle, but whatever. I want to be fit for the family, be able to
Yep.
pick up my great grandkids one day. Okay. So funny enough is like our buddy Kyler, I don't know, had connected us while ago, but it was really random. Like right around that time, my wife had sent me a TikTok of you and your daughter. And like, she doesn't send me a lot. Maybe it was TikTok or Instagram, but it was the episode, I think 100 you did with your daughter. And
Yep.
it was just like you being a sweet, big, loving daddy, to daughters, crying about your realization of like daughter moving out and life shifting and changing. And I got 4 daughters, bro. I got 4 daughters and a son. And I'm just such a dad to daughters. I love it. So thinking back to this connection with your oldest daughter, I just want to start there. Like, what are some of the things that led you to have this depth of connection and relationship? And she was just on here a minute ago, right? She's your producer. You guys
Mhm.
are clearly homies. How old is she?
She just turned 18.
Okay, she just turned 18. Radical. It's total side note as we get into this, but my daughter's going to Boise State. We live in Hawaii right now. My daughter's at Boise State. She's my oldest. She's a hustler. She just closed on her first house last week, I think. So as I'm looking at you, your post, your daughter, I'm like, they need to go be homies. So we definitely need to connect those two girls at some
Oh, for
point
sure.
because they're drivers. But tell me, what are a couple things that you cultivated with your daughter? You have two girls, right?
Yep.
But what are some things that you've cultivated to really inspire the father to be able to have that kind of like tight relationship with his daughter? So if the dude's listening to this, what are some things you'd encourage him in to cultivate that type of depth?
Trust. Everything
And
comes down to
how
trust.
do you do that?
Checking your ego, checking your anger,
Mm,
checking your pride, showing vulnerability, putting your family, your wife first, putting your children first. And that
mm.
was a lesson that took me a long time to learn. Long time.
When did you learn it, do you think? I mean, obviously we're still learning, but when did it like click where there wasn't this like 20 years of damage done and it was more there was trust spilt versus any kind of damage?
For me, it kind of came to a point where my wife sat me down. She's like, "You're going to lose your daughters. They're not little
Mm,
Marines. They're not your boys. They're not sons. There's a whole different approach to it." And I had to do a lot of unpacking from childhood and how I was raised with my mom and having zero empathy. And she didn't teach my brother and I
mm,
how to regulate emotions and all the shit that we find out now, right down the
mhm,
road. But my wife is a huge key factor in all this and just pointing out those things like, "Hey, yeah, it is math, and I understand you don't understand why we're crying over math homework, but this is who they are, and you're not gonna
mhm,
change them." And so it took a lot of reflecting and like I said, swallowing my ego, my pride,
mm,
checking the anger at the door because I'm started watching dudes in my circle that had daughters ahead of me
mhm,
going through everything I didn't want to do. Everything I didn't want my daughters to start going through with the boys and the drugs and the insecurities and chasing the image and everything that comes out with our girls and our daughters that they're attacked every day spiritually on social media, in public school, whatever it may be. And I'm watching these girls start to convert. My wife's like, that's what you're raising right there. That's your future of not
mm,
knowing where your daughter is, her not coming home and walking in the door, and I'm the first, Dad, you wouldn't believe what's going on. Dad, and it terrifies me. And if it
mm,
doesn't terrify you as a dad or as a father, you, you have some serious reflecting to do that one day something is going to come up. A situation is going to happen. I don't care who you are, how protective, how prepared your kids are. And this goes for your sons. They're going to be put in a situation where they're
yeah.
tested. They're going to be put in a situation where they need help. And if they don't have the trust where dad, I gotta call my dad. That's all I want in life.
Mm,
Dad, I'm on the drop me a pin. She knows you don't even have to call, you don't even have to text. If I have a pin dropped in my text message, I'm out the door on the way. And that's how my daughters know that dad will always be there. Dad's never gonna question it. And those are those really tough conversations of sitting down at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night on their bed, talking to them
mhm,
about whatever their little problems are from a young age. And this isn't something that you could just sit down on your 15-year-old daughter's bed one day and be like, "All right, kiddo, what's going on in your life?" It doesn't work like that. This is something that has to, there is a starting point if they are
mhm,
14, 15. I'm not saying to not start, but it's going to take a long time to build that
yeah.
trust. So for the young dads out there, get on it now. You want that rad kid, you want your daughter's at the party and you know she's coming in your door. She's not going to be high. She's not going to be drunk. She's going to tell you all the drama. She's going to tell you everybody that was there, everything that was going on. And I could be like, "Yeah, cool, kid, go have fun. Be home. You know what time to be home. No problem." And I don't have to stress, "Dad, there's gonna be like 100 kids there tonight. Cool. Let me know if you have any issues. I'm right down the road." And that was waking up and realizing I don't want to be the dad. And I know these dudes around the corner and their daughters are posting TikToks, 16, 17 years old, drunk,
Mhm.
and the dad's sleeping. I know exactly what's going on. I see everything because I'm built that relationship where my daughter's
Right.
showing
You're
me
on
everything.
the inside of it. Yeah.
Why would you not want to be on the inside? You get caught on the outside. It's too late, bro. And
Yeah.
so that's where it comes down to when you're hey, there's this boy and the old boys, oh my God. And I'm immediately peaked because, dude, I'm so involved with my kids and I'm so
Mm,
protective. I'm that gargoyle that just guards everything in this house. But at the same time, like they need to know they'd be able to come to me. So it's like I have a little fuse that'll short out for a second. I take a breath, like, okay, cool, let's talk about this. Where are we at with
mhm,
it? Any light? How is he? How's he treating? Are you happy? And I go through all those check marks. So she knows I could go to dad. And there's not we have those little boundaries and there's certain things and those things girl talk and developing teenagers. There's shit this dad does not. I'm cool. I don't need to know
mm,
everything. But
mhm,
outside of my walls, I want to know what's going on out there. And and that starts as far as building just trust.
mm,
Knowing your kids, and this goes for sons too. I just speak on daughters because I'm a girl dad, but I have son buddies that have sons. Oh, that's my boy. He's good, but you don't have that connection. So when your son or your daughter
mm.
gets caught up one time, because we all have, man, I don't care. You could be in your 20s, it could be later on in life. At some point, you're going to need to be able to call your dad to come bail your ass out of something,
Yep.
protect you, show up, whatever it may be. And that's one of my biggest fears is not getting that call and finding out
Mm.
later on.
Yeah, it being someone else. And clearly the big theme here that I'm hearing is trust. And for
Yep.
whatever reason, we have made love the most important thing. And a lot of kids can say, my dad loves me. Right. And I say it like that. Like, my dad loves me. I know he loves me, but there's such a difference between love and trust. Like, trust is a higher value, a higher need, a higher stability. Like, I mean, the dad should be creating that stability, which only comes from trust in the home. And I love the statement you said, I know what's going on outside my walls, right?
Yep.
I know what's going on outside there, because the reality is the internal stuff going on inside of our kids, our daughters, is coming inside of our walls. And if we don't, and that's developed a lot in what's happening in their outside influences. And are
Mhm.
they able to externalize that to us, right? It should be the safest place. So trust is key. And like you said, that comes from, like you said, I will get hijacked for a moment. Then I got to check myself and be like, okay, I'm not going to react here. Dad reacted. I'm super sorry. I don't want to be that guy. Let's respond. Let's talk.
Mhm.
Let's think through this. And if dad could cultivate that, then that depth of relationship you're talking about is massive, because kids are going to screw up. Kids are going to, like this. We want them to screw up in our homes. We want them to bring everything to us when they're in our home, not deal with it when they're 20 by
Yep.
themselves with some kid who didn't have a strong father in their life. Um, okay, because I want to come back to this. When did your wife sit you down and say, I don't need the date, but like at what phase, like how old were the girls roughly when you kind of had this awakening?
My oldest was just in those preteen years.
Yeah, love it.
Where she's really starting to process things,
Hmm.
really starting to learn who we are, who my personality, my emotions, and we homeschool, so our kids are in our shit 24/7. That it's there's not very many downfalls or cons to homeschooling, but one of them is you're going to be so tight as a family, at least for us.
Yeah.
One little hiccup happens, everybody knows what's going on. If it's personal, if it's business, whatever it may be, our kids are involved in everything. And so that's when they pick up on that stuff. And it's like, okay, if she's this in tune with me, I can't keep this dog and pony going on of trying to be this outside of the house and then checking it here. It just didn't work because then I'm
Mm,
putting things away. I'm suppressing. I'm just communicating and voicing, and then it overspills. You know, the whole drop in a bucket analogy, and eventually it's going to overflow, and then it comes out. You know, and then where I would catch myself too in the earlier days is I would find things that were going on or things I didn't like, and instead of I'm finding them out instead of being told, then
mm,
I'm reacting to finding out
hmm,
instead of why am I not being told this? And so then it was like, well, if you just listen to them, if you just and I know this is
mm.
you got a lot of Christian followers on here, but I'm a cusser. I don't it is what it
You're
is.
good.
But my wife goes, if you just shut the up and let them speak and let
Mm,
them talk, they'll tell you everything. Now it was a big thing. I don't want to go in there. All right, kid, listen, listen, like our dads used to do and sit for 2 hours and talk and you're checked out after 5 minutes. Like, bro, get out
mm,
of my room. Like, I don't even care. So it was just like, hey, kid, what's going on in your life? What's going on? Let me hear it. What happened here? And then just letting them talk. That's what
Mhm.
builds that trust of them knowing they can communicate and they could come to you and they're going to be heard. And if you're constantly, well, you should have, and this is a big thing that I fight. Well, I've told you this. Well, you should have. Well, you should know better. Well, you should know better because you shouldn't know better because you haven't lived the life I have. You haven't made these mistakes yet. Even though I'm trying to prevent you from these mistakes, that's how you learn. And so that's a big thing as me as the protector in our home. I have to tell myself, okay, this is how my daughter is going to learn. She needs to spread her wings. She needs to go and
Mm.
fall, but I'm always going to be there to pick her up. And that's the trust, knowing that you're going to be there when they fall. My hand will be out, judgment free. Let's go. Let's regroup. Whatever we got to do, we're going to get back on the tracks and keep heading down. So
Mm.
that was a big thing for me.
Yeah, yeah. I want to circle back to a question on that, but first, you made a comment really important. I think we hear, like, we're listening to this podcast. Okay, dad's listening. They're like, yeah, okay, listen, listen, listen. I need to listen to my wife. I need to listen to my kids. I need to listen to my daughters. But you said that, did they feel heard? And I think there's clearly a difference, because I can sit there while my daughter's telling me something, and I can just be coaching myself in my mind. Listen, listen, listen. But am I hearing her? Now, I want to be careful, because sometimes I will listen to my son, for example, and I'll say, "Hey man, I'm hearing you, but we're not going to do it that way." So just because I'm hearing you doesn't mean I'm going to cave to whatever you're trying to negotiate with me.
Mhm.
But I do want to understand your perspective. So maybe break that down a little bit for the listeners. What's the difference between listening and really hearing? And then what do you do with what you heard?
So I used to just listen, and then all of a sudden I'm firing back with what I'm feeling, giving
Yeah.
my opinions. This is what I would have done. This is what you need to do different next time.
Mm-hmm.
That's my wife's like, they need to know that they're hurt. And so that's where I would sit and I would just let them talk.
Mm,
And so a lot of times, kind of to go off of this is I'll come in. Do you want my opinion or do you want my ears? What do you want? And she's like, I
mm,
just need you to listen. Done. Okay.
yeah.
Where are we at? What do we got? Do I need to hurt anybody? Nope. Everything's good. Okay, let's go. And then they'll just spill for however long it is. And unfortunately, my oldest is a talker. So it'll probably be 2.5 hours of her explaining a simple story. And she knows that she can talk for that whole entire time. And then at the end, if she had, Dad, what do you think? Did I do something? Should I have done this different? Then I give my opinion instead of me just listening. And then every time they hit that little peak moment for us as
Mm-hmm.
dads, a little fuse that burns. Well, you should. This is where you messed up. This is where I would have. Well, yeah, dude, I'm almost 42 years old and she's 17 trying to figure life out. No shit, she's going to be making different decisions than myself or my wife or anybody else. And so that's where it was just, okay, you want my ears or you want my mouth right now? What do you
Mm,
want? You want to be heard or you want my opinions? And there's times she's like, Dad, I need your opinion. What do I do on this? And she'll just boom, bust it out. Hey, this is where I probably would have maybe handled this a little bit differently. Let's try to process this and think about this before we react to that next time. And so it's really changed a lot in our
mm,
house. The whole dynamic kind of shifted once I really adopted it. And I still have my moments. There's times, especially with boys, man. I'm just having such a hard time with boys. And I'm sure our parents said it and our parents before us said it. But it's just, dude, these kids these days, and look at the stats and how much 70 to 75% of these boys are all watching porn now
yeah.
and just how they're raised. There's no father figures anymore in these homes. All the dads are just these cheese that are just want to focus on themselves and they want the
Yeah.
boats and the jewelry and the house and the toys and they're neglecting their sons. They're not teaching their sons how to properly treat a woman. Keep making sure they're not being addicted to porn as a young child because that's only going to evolve into some really dark, demonic, deep holes. And so
Mhm.
that's where my fear's at. And so I know what the game is. Like honestly, and we're gonna be just straight up right now. Like a lot of it comes back because I was that piece of shit for a long time, dude.
Mm,
Lust is my sin. I'll always fight it. I wish I didn't have it. I wish I was fighting a different battle. But ran the game. I was freaking just traveled the world, and I know everything. And so then now this is God's sense of humor, bro. Like he
he has
has
a
the
couple
greatest sense of
daughters.
humor ever, and all daughters. And now I'm dealing with all these little broccoli head, little alpaca looking dorks that are just it's just like, what are we doing? And I look at my daughter like this kid, and I'm like, okay, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'll shut up. Like, okay,
Dork
so
is
it's one of those.
definitely a word we need to bring back. We need
Oh, I'm
dork
bringing
back.
back dork. I'm bringing back I'm bringing back all of our genre. I'm bringing it back. These kids don't know anymore.
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, frickin' I'm in Hawaii and it's like the bathing suits out here like would kill me. I wish I lived in a place with seasons. So it wasn't, bathing suits 24/7. What okay, clearly you don't take shit. You're ready to fight if needed to be. You don't seem like the guy who likes to be told what to do. So with that probably being true, how are you in a place to have your wife sit you down and say, "Hey, let's make a shift here. Let me call something to your attention." Like, how are you already ready for that? Because I think some guys like, dude, it is no joke. Our wives are incredibly wise. Like, we literally are dumb without them.
Yeah.
And we need to be badass leaders. So it's like that doesn't mean be a passive bitch, husband, father at all. We still have to lead with open ears. Like, okay, yesterday in the kitchen, I presented something to my wife or something I want to do. And I'm like, hey, I know I'm a romantic, I'm an idealist. Like, I'm sure I'm way off in the clouds. And she brought me over to like, okay, I can do it this way. And it's still what I want to accomplish. So how were you in a place to hear her?
Well, one, she's my best friend. I put my wife first for everything. I didn't always. I'm not that. I did not come to our marriage like, oh, this is took our vows serious, and she's been
Yeah.
no, dude. She should have left me probably 20 times, and I've
Mm,
given every reason for her to. And so it was one of those things. Took a lot of years. I mean, dude, we're coming up on almost 20 years together, and so
nice. Congrats. It's
she's my
awesome.
best friend, and dude, we've built this relationship of just being able to communicate. And I'm not gonna live in a home, and I don't want my anybody living in a home that you can't come to one another and to be able to discuss these things. If your wife is immediately shut down, that's a massive problem. And if your
Mm,
wife's coming to you and you're automatically in the defense, that is a massive problem. That is not how you are going to come together to be
hmm,
equally yoked, one, spiritually in your home, and two, as a husband and wife to be able to raise your kids. If you guys are not equally yoked on your child raising skills, you're always going to battle. There's always going to be a good cop, bad cop. They're
mm,
all the kids and these man, these little shits they'll pick up on weakness in a heartbeat, so they know who they can go to for whatever problems they want to get away with. And so that was where we sit down, and my wife and I, we are very big on having very unpopular, awkward conversations. Like
mm.
if there's something in our house, it's addressed. I don't, and that's just probably comes back a lot on me. I'm one of those people. If I ever have an issue with somebody or there's something, I address it immediately. Like, dude, if there's a
Yeah.
problem, like not in like a tough guy way, but I just don't live my life though thinking like, oh man, are they still mad at me? Do we have a problem? Yes or no? Is this good or is this resolved? Yes. Where are we at with this? And so
Mm,
with my wife and I, she's like, hey, we need to sit down and have a chat. And this is where it comes to shutting up and listening
mm,
and just taking it all in, processing it, and be like, okay. And so yeah, it was a lot of my wife just not taking no for an answer. And I used to be that Marine and I'm good. I did my time. I know what I'm doing. Like, and it was just all ego, man. Just her crushing my ego in the best way possible to be able to truly just start finding who I am as a dad and as a husband, putting myself in line with everybody else in the house instead of just fighting it 24/7 and always being
mm.
irritable and always being angry and nobody's listening to me in my home. Well, if your whole entire home isn't listening to you, maybe it's time to take a step back.
Yep.
Be like, why aren't they listening to me? Why is nobody doing what I want to happen in this house? Take that step back and be like, okay, if you got five people telling one person over there they're the asshole, like,
Check
it's just
yourself.
a process
Yeah.
of elimination.
Yeah.
So when everybody in the house is pointing at me saying I'm the asshole, I don't listen. I'm not letting them voice what they need to get across. Okay, cool. I'll time to start listening. Checking your
Yes.
ego.
Okay, so dudes listening right now, I just want you to fast forward to like 85 years old. Okay, like what do you want in life? And so I think that it can help you realize like you want to have that wife that's still by your side. You want to have the kids, the grandkids, the great grandkids all around you. Like it doesn't matter how much you make, it doesn't matter what your business was, what your car was, none of that shit matters. And if you can put yourself in that place, then come back to today right now. Are you showing up defensive with your wife? Are you being told you're an asshole? And if so, and you want to be the truth of that 85-year-old, look in the mirror at your own eyes going like, did I give it my all? Just make those shifts today. Start doing the work. There's so many tools out there. Bam's got a podcast. I got a podcast. There's a bunch of stuff out there. Shout out to Liberated Kings. They're helping guys get off porn. There's so much out there. There's zero reason that you can't get your shit together right now. And and here's the thing. I need you to do it. Bam needs you to do it. Like, my kids are going to marry your kids. Like, we need to make sure, if we want this family unit thing to continue on, we want this to be a wonderful country to live in, we have to prepare our kids, and you have to prepare your kids so that families can continue to exist. That's my soapbox.
I look at it like this, man. I've been fortunate enough to be able to network over the years, travel the world, met a lot of very wealthy people. They're some of the most miserable, lonely people I've ever met in my life. And they've sacrificed their families, their life, their everything, chasing a dollar. My brother died. He had my mom, my dad, my sister, his wife, both his sons standing at his foot, at his bed as my brother took his, and myself standing there, and he took his last breath. My biggest fear in life is not, I guess it's not a fear, but it would be a regret. One of my biggest regrets in life is going to be laying on my deathbed and nobody standing next to me. I want my family. I want my kids. I want my grandkids. And I'm going to look at my daughters and be like, fucking A, girls. Like, how rad was that run? How incredible was our lives? They're going to look at me and be like, thanks, Dad. Like, or, oh, Dad's in the hospital. Well, I'm gonna go say my farewells and my goodbye. Good luck, because he was a piece of shit and treated. I got all this trauma now. I'm not gonna be that dad. I'm not gonna be that grandpa. I want to be the grandpa where we're gonna go to grandpa's. And I already can't even wait. I can wait for grandkids.
You feel you.
But I'm so excited, dude. I want to hold a baby again, man. Like, I'm at that stage. Like, I can't wait to just sniff my grandchildren and not give them back. Why would you want to sacrifice everything for $1 to work your life away, to push everybody out of your life because you're chasing something? For what? For what? And so that is where I really check myself. I want my daughters standing there with their husbands, their kids, and being like, dude, grandpa had a run. Boy, do we got some stories to talk about at his funeral. I'll be like, let me go. It's time. That's my goal. That's the end goal for me is even if it's not in my deathbed, just knowing they would have been there, knowing my kids, I still have that same relationship now with my grandkids. Like, that's the end goal. If you don't start fixing that shit now, you're gonna be this grumpy old asshole that nobody wants to go over, and you're just gonna be a drunk, and you're just pissing your life away. And now you're in your 60s and 70s, you're just falling apart, and nobody wants to be around you. Like, that's the mission of life. Like, that's your goal in this world. God gave us one short chance on this planet. You're gonna piss it away being an asshole. It's
like and I think that's the thing is, like, a lot of men right now have maybe not had a great dad, not had somebody invite them in. They're listening to this podcast, and they're struggling with their identity. I think you just got to make the hard decision it's not even a hard decision. You just got to make the decision to shift it. Like, it's your opportunity to shift it and step into who you really are, who God made you to be.
Well, okay, if you don't shift, then shut up about crying about your dad. Nobody gives a shit. I don't give a shit about your trauma. I don't give a shit about your daddy issues. I have them. We all have them. But if you're not doing anything, and you tell, oh, my dad abused me and he was a drunk, and then this is why I'm a drunk, dude, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, then you're no different. Shut up or make a difference. Break the chain so your kids aren't going to be passed on what your grandfather passed on to your dad, that passed on to you. And that's where we need to get together as men and start talking about this shit. It's like, yeah, dude, my dad you hear the story, two sons grow up with an alcoholic father. One of them becomes an alcoholic. Well, because my dad was an alcoholic, and one of them becomes a sober. Well, I'm not an alcoholic because my dad was an alcoholic. Which son are you going to be? You're going to continue the legacy. You
have the choice.
My dad was a Vietnam vet, and he passed everything on to me, and it's just who we are. Absolutely not, dude. You brought these children into your life. It's your life, your children, nobody else's. Break the chain. Start a whole new cycle so your kids love their dad, so your kids love their mom, or whatever the issues are. That's where I'm at, dude. These dudes, oh, I'm just like my dad, and I don't know what to do. The opposite of what your dad did. Like, that's all you have to do.
You have a brain and an opportunity. And I think that's why most dudes are here. is they are making that shift. One thing that I have seen, and a friend brought this up who follows your podcast and follows you, is this idea of like not taking life a little too serious. Like clearly we're having a serious conversation, but I'd love to shift into like a little bit of the playfulness. I think some dads wrestle with being playful with their kids. How has this shaped, like you being like, I'm pretty playful with my kids. You're playful. Like, how has this shift helped? Right. We talk about the seriousness of like hearing our daughters and going through like their stuff with them, whether it's a small problem or bigger as they get older. But how has being a playful father helped shape your relationship with your kids and maybe even your wife?
Well, one, there's incredible statistics that come out about the endorphins, about everything, and how all these little things inside of us biologically change when when children play with their fathers. It's actually
Mm,
extremely healthy for your kids to play, and then it just your kids know you're there. Like for a great example, dude, we're waiting at sushi a couple weeks ago, and my kids into jujitsu and stuff. My little one, and this little shit climbs up on this little cage outside, like a bike rack thing, and jumps on my back and throws me to full choke. And I'm legit trying to fight. I'm down on one knee on concrete. We're downtown Boise. Like all these people are looking at us like we're just these weird assholes. And here's my daughter like choking and I'm fighting it. We're rolling around. I don't care, man. I don't
mm,
care. Like that's a memory now that my child has, and I'm not gonna sit here and play. Now, granted, we're in restaurants and it comes to respect. I'm not letting my kids climb on shit and to
for
be
sure, for sure.
disrespectful. But to be the fact that I could go and just, I mean, dude, we're in an airport stuck for 5 hours and we're doing some stupid shit and we're always messing around and just having fun. But it's just those little memories and those little moments that you get to share with your kid and just have that. And so I see these dads and they're so serious and gotta be this, oh man, we're standing here and they're on watch. It's like, bro, relax. Like
Mm,
go do something fun. Bring a hacky sack and go find a corner and just go kick a hacky sack around for a little bit. Fold up a little paper thing and we're shooting it, whatever it may be. There's always something to do, especially get your kids off the electronics and spend
mhm.
that quality time with them. And it's just, I'm all for it, man. Just get out. And for us, like we'll go to the range. We'll spend all day just shooting long range
Nice.
and we'll go into the mountains. We'll go hike. Like all of us drew elk tags this year.
Oh,
And,
sweet.
so we're going to be doing a ton of hunting. And it's just one of those things. Like that's our play. It's just getting out. Dude, we'll just get in the truck and just, bro, sunsets here are the most incredible sunsets, like 10 o'clock at night. Bro, we'll throw on some Sam Barber, some worship music, and we just go drive the desert with
Mm,
windows down, dog hanging out the window. I got all the girls' hair blowing everywhere. And everyone's vibing. And it costs nothing except for some gas money, dude. Just go
mm.
drive. Get your family out of the house for an hour. Go for a cruise. Go for a walk. Just spend that time. It's just quality
Yeah.
time, man. That's it. It's not even just a play. It's just quality time. It's all our kids
Quality
need.
time. Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like sometimes I think dads feel like, this is a waste of time, but it's almost like the wasted time that is the most important time, right? When it's done with some intentionality. Obviously, not just everybody on the couch scrolling Instagram, which is fine, whatever, on occasion, but watching the sunset, going on a drive, listening to some music, having some good food, right? So those are things right there. Music, great way to connect. Going on a drive, being outside of the house, great way to connect. Food together, great way to connect. And then ultimately, this thing I heard, I asked you a question about playfulness. How old is your younger daughter?
She's turning 12 actually here
Okay,
next
sick.
month.
So at 12 is like, dude, middle school is so awkward at times.
It's a very
Um,
crucial time in their life, especially little girls.
yeah. And she feels the freedom to jump on your back in public and dad's not going to be like, hey, what the hell are you doing? Or this, we don't do this here or whatever. Right. So there's this clearly massive trust and fun and playfulness that's already been cultivated. So she feels the ability to be silly with you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely. And there's times where I'm like, yo, no, we're down. All right. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
place. And so you got to check because they don't know. They're kids. She's little, and
Right.
especially boys, dude. I watch these little boys in public, and there's no like personal space boundaries, like good time bats. Boys are just wired one way, and it's all gas, no brake. But yeah, so it's a little bit different. But I'll be like, hey, let's wait a little bit. Or like, oh, okay. Because she'll know she'll get me with something, and she knows she can get away. And I'm like, cool. Until we get out of here. And then she's like, no, I was just kidding. But it's just it's all comes down to just having fun, having
Yeah.
trust, but like know that we could just screw around and just it's they're brother kids.
Yeah. They're kids. S-
Enjoy it, man. They don't got to be these little soldiers. They don't got to be these perfect little TikTok children that everybody portrays their kids to be. Let them screw up, let them have fun, let them fall, get hurt. Like that's just that's life.
Yeah. I'm reminded of it. So last night, and it's like, as I say it out loud, I'm like, I don't know if it's the best choice, but at least they're asking me. After dinner, my 13-year-old and her 16-year-old older sister and a friend, they drove to go get some ice cream. And then I get a text. I'm in the garage working on my son's dirt bike with him, and I get a text from my youngest, Stella. She's 13. And she's like, Dad, do you care? So we live in Kona. There's like hotels and it's resort town, whatever. Dad, do you care if we go to they sneak into the hotels all the time and go to the pools. So they said, do you care if we go do some doorbell ditching at a hotel? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, be careful. You know what I mean? Like, if you be careful, let me know. And so anyways, they go doorbell ditching at a hotel last night. But the thing is, her texting me to ask, we got to go do something. Like, do we have the reins to do it? And it's like, I wrestle and I also want to earn the right to say no. So I try to say yes to as much of those things as I can so that when the real thing comes that maybe needs a no, then it's okay.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, if I said no to doorbell ditching, they're probably just not going to ask next time. You know what I mean? So
And that's perfect. It's a perfect, like, is it the end? Is it the end of the world? Like my daughters, they go and they sit and my daughter, we're huge people watchers. Everywhere we go,
okay.
we people watch. And she's just like, Dad, it'll be like 11:30. And I always tell her, I'm like, name me one good thing that happens past 10 o'clock. And if you can, I'll let you stay out late. And she never
Yeah.
can. But then,
Yeah.
but then it comes down to it's 9:45. Dad, I could be home in time, but we're having so much fun. Can I have an extra 30 minutes? I'll be like, hey, be home. I'll give her an extra hour just for
Yeah.
asking,
Right.
it's that little reward. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be every time. There's going to be times where I will say no just to let her know, hey, not tonight. Like,
That's good.
and I might
Yeah.
not even have an excuse, but it's just because I'll give her 100 yeses, but there's gonna be that one random no because I also want to test her and see where she's at. If is
How
there
do
a
they deal
fight?
with a no? Yeah.
Is there a fight? Am I getting pushback on this? Like, why do I have an
It's
attitude for
good.
telling you no? Because I have X, Y, and Z, 10 of the examples of when I gave you all this extra time. And so, but then there's never been. So every time and she's never given me, and that's another big thing. Don't give me a reason to say no. I'm always going to, until then, dude, yeah, just ask. And that's goes back to trust and being able to have that open line of communication. Hey, Dad, dude, she's 18 years old. Hey, Dad, I'm just checking in. I'm heading over to so-and-so's right now. Thanks, kid. Like, you're 18. I'm not going to tell her to not. I love it. She can be 30 years old checking with me. I don't give a shit. Like, I'll take it. But it's just the fact to be able to build that, like, give them those little extra rooms. Do I want her sitting at the village at 11 o'clock at night? Like, oh, I got a bunch of Meridian PD buddies that, they're all like, yo, is your kid at the village? We're about to crack down. And I'll just tell her, like, yo, get out of there. Like, the guys are coming. But it's just, I know she's not doing anything. I know there's
Yeah.
nothing in my truck. I know there's no boys in my truck. It's just her
Yeah.
and a little friend. They go get a burger and they sit and people watch. It's my wife and I do it. It's hilarious. And so, yeah, just building, but letting him know, hey, you haven't given me a reason to say no. Absolutely. But then a little every now and then you just check it, you gotta balance checks and balances. And so, yeah, I'm with you on that.
100%. So this question has popped in my head a couple times. I've never really asked it to anybody, but I feel like it'd be a good question to ask you. You were a Marine. You were in the military.
Mhm.
I was at my daughter's high school graduation 3 weeks ago, and there was, 350 kids who graduated. Two of them, had this, whatever, something on saying that they were going in the Marine, one Air Force, one Marines. And it's like, man, there's something for me. I wasn't in the Marines. I didn't have a lot of family. My grandfather was a Marine, but I didn't have a lot of family in the military. Your perspective, your encouragement around fathers having conversations with their sons or daughters, frankly, about getting into the military. I mean, is that, do you have an answer on that, or
Yeah,
do you want to
do it.
skip?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
No, absolutely not, bro. Why'd you go fight for Israel? I don't want to get political on your shit, but dude, it's a joke. I signed the dotted line because I thought I was defending my country. I didn't know that we were going to go defend Israel and all the just pure evil that runs our country. Like, absolutely not. You're not fighting for the men in I'm fighting for my brothers in the foxhole left. No, you're not. You're fighting for Netanyahu right now, and you're going to go to Iran and do all these bullshit wars. We never found weapons of mass destruction. I'm kicking doors in every single day, and we're tearing up these countries. I never found any of the shit they sent us to go find. Nobody did. And yeah, no shit, they're fighting us. We're invading a country. Let somebody land on our shores and see what happens here. If you're a kid in a small town, you have absolutely nothing going on in your life. You need a way out of that dark hole, and you're come from nowhere, Mississippi, and then you just meth and fentanyl in your town.
Mm,
Get your ass into the recruiter's office and go do 4 years and get out. Join the Air Force and maybe the Navy, but I would go Air Force over everything because they're spoiled and you're never going to get in any combat. You're not going to do anything. If you're just looking to go and make a career and better your life, go to the trades, go blue collar, go be a
mm,
lineman, go get in the utility world. You're going to be making 10 times the amount of money. You're going to have an incredible career set up for you. And AI is not going to take over your job. You're not fighting somebody else's foreign bullshit wars to make the rich even richer and send our poor children to go and die on the battlefields for who? We're not fighting for this red, white, and blue flag. Like that shit's been dead forever. That concept, I can't. So it's hard for me to support it. Like I get it. It's let the military built everything that I have today. Am I you still
hmm.
got me? I don't know if I disconnected.
Yeah, I got
Um,
you.
I just it's tough, but I've been in the military side and I've been in the blue collar, the trade world, and the trades are an incredible option. I think more people need to really look into.
Mm. Yeah, man. Well, thank you for that perspective for sure. I think it's important for dads to be having conversations with their kids. And so then let me lead into this. All right, my friends, you've been hearing me talk about the Genesis program through Rise of Kings, and I am incredibly excited to invite you to it as well as be a part of it. Rise of Kings has helped thousands of men over the last 5 years discover the reality of their identity. And now they have launched the Genesis program, which is for young men ages 13 to 17. And here's the idea. You as a father would take your son to this 2-day event to start to initiate a conversation and an awareness around what it means to be a man. But the conversation would really be between you and your son. And then after the 2-day event, once we expose your sons to the 4 pillars, to what it means to be a man, then we work with you and your son. I'm actually the coach for the mastermind program. You got Mondo Davis, who does the 2-day event, incredible man, 11 children. He's currently working with his 16-year-old son. I'm working with my 16-year-old son. So you guys, this is fresh, this is real, this matters. So we want to invite you to the 2-day event with you and your son. And then after that, I'll be the coach for the 6-month mastermind where I'm working with you every 2 weeks. And then I'm working with your sons every 2 weeks with the idea that we're helping you to really step into what does it look like to help transition your son from a boy into a man. This is something you won't want to miss. It is worth the time, the resources to really help your son see who he is young and early so that he can love, lead, serve a family and the kingdom moving forward at a young age. Please go to riseofkings.com/FFN to register you and your son. Would love to see you in the program. You homeschool your kids. We've done several different things right now. We've got, 2 in college, basically. My son's homeschool, my other 2 are at public school for the time being. Something I started talking to my kids about are what are all the paths after high school, right? I think that there's just sort of this default of like high school and then college, which
Which
is
is the
fine.
dumbest. It's the dumbest shit to me, dude. Like it doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't
So
make sense.
what other paths are you talking about with your daughter? So it's like I started these conversations with my kids maybe 3 to 5 years ago. I wish I would have started sooner, but like, what are the paths? What are the options? What are you guys
Well,
talking about in your home?
mom and I we're entrepreneurs, man. Like there's no going back. Like we
Yeah.
stepped out of that world, out of the military. I've tried the corporate world and helping on back end is just not for us. And so the college thing to me makes sense if you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a veterinarian, you want to be a scientist. What that absolutely requires a degree.
Right.
College to me is the most boomer, outdated process. Like it, my daughter explains it perfect. She's like, she just graduated and all these people. So where are you going? What's next? What's the plan for college? What's the plan for college? She's like, why has nobody asked me what I'm doing with my life? Why
Mm,
is it always, what college are you going to? Where are you accepted to? So then we put this pressure on these kids to go off to college, to get yourself into debt
mm.
immediately as an adult. And I know 30, 40-year-olds that are still paying their college debt off. So now for the next 10, 15, 20 years, I'm going to send my child off to get dumber because these kids aren't coming out of college smarter. The numbers and the statistics that are coming out, these kids are actually regressing in college, at least for the first 2 to 3 years. And they're coming out, all of these major companies are lowering the standards of college.
Mm.
doesn't make any sense. We push our kids. We're not anti-college, but I'm not funding college. I
Mm,
absolutely not. So they have a savings account. They can either pull it, travel the world. You could take
mhm.
all of your college funds. You could travel the world abroad if you want to. I completely support it. You could take all that money and you could start your own business. And your mom and I will do everything we can to walk you through all that. Or you can take it and you could put it into whatever you want for college as far as bettering your continual
Right.
education. I'm cool with. But as far as going and getting a marketing bro, I've been in marketing for 12, 15 years now. I've grown massive brands for people. I've never stepped foot in a college class in my life. And my daughter's a producer of this podcast. She's got college interns that are signing up to come work for her. And I'm like, why am I going to encourage her to go to college when she's making more money than I was as a freaking sergeant in Iraq? Like
Mm,
it's just this boomer logic that okay, you got to go to high school, you got to go to college, you got to get yourself in debt, you got to get a job, you got to go work your life away for the next 30, 40 years. And then if you're lucky, you might have 10 to 12 years of your health left by the
yeah.
time you
Yeah.
retire to enjoy your life. I'm out. They're not selling me on that. They're not, I can't drink that Kool-Aid. And so it's like, I'm looking at all these kids, nobody's using any degrees that they went to college for. What's the point? Just to say you
Mm,
have a degree. So it's like, kid, why don't we sit here? Why don't we help you grow your brand? Why don't we help you side hustle on this? And we have a lot of little things that we're working on with our kids. Like, dude, my daughter's 12 or turning 12, and we have a full bakery for her because the entrepreneurship. Start your kids, and they could be bracelets and selling lemonade on corners. We started this little bakery for her just to learn entrepreneurship. We ship all over the country. It pays our bills, and we never thought it was going to be a thing. It just started as a homeschool project. Teach your kids to start thinking outside of the box. Like college, like I
mm,
keep saying, is the most outdated boomer logic. Like, doesn't make any sense if you truly break it down. Go get yourself in debt for the rest of your life for what? So some professor that's taught what information, it's crazy to me, bro. I can go in rabbit holes about it. I get super passionate, but it's like, dude, these people are just indoctrinating our children. They're not learning anything. They come out hating our government, hating everything, religion. It's the most toxic environment, and you're going to give the college money to do that to your children? Make it make sense. Unless you have a strong foundation with your
yeah.
children and you have these conversations and you're monitoring and watching everything that's going on in college. But that's where we get to it as parents. Oh, out of the house, 18, on your own,
Yeah.
buddy. Good luck, kid. And then you just let them fuck off for the next 4 years, getting themselves in debt. Like, my job as a father never ends. Now, I
No,
might have to tone back on some things and
for
the
sure.
protective and being involved, but to encourage my child to go off to college, and that's how I want my kids starting their life off. That doesn't make any sense. I just brought you from birth to this moment, trying to get you to be ahead and excel at everything in life. And I'm going to turn you off to college. That's your best option. Instead of starting a business, I tell my daughter, I'm like, your friends are working as a barista, serving at start. Nothing wrong with it. Dude, I've done my trench work.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm like, you're a producer of one of the fastest growing podcasts in the country right now. You can go to college, kid. You can go get it. I tell her all the time, you can go get any job you want. You can leave anytime. You can go do whatever you want. But this is here for you right now. She's like, I'm good. I, this is giving your kids opportunities to be able to look at things differently instead of just the same cookie cutter that our grandparents and parents and us and our kids. It's just this cycle of just why? Why
Yeah, and I
does it
think
have to happen this way?
I think the biggest thing that I resonate with with what you said is like the fatherhood doesn't end. So it's like I don't want to get my kid to 18 and then send them off and let somebody else be the one that has the biggest voice in their life, or like, hey, you
No,
figure out your life. No, it's my responsibility, like, to shift, right? I'm not telling you to brush your teeth anymore, but if I did my job, you already know to do that. It's having conversations about the bigger components of where is your trajectory, where's the best use of your time, how are you investing in yourself, especially when you don't have the responsibility of marriage or kids or a mortgage or whatever bills you might have. Is like, this is your time to go and learn. So what's going to be your highest and best use of your time for your plan for your life? And are you continuously reflecting on that to make the choices that are best for you? So I love it. So travel the world, start a business, go to college if there's a reason. Military is not something we're talking about, right? So not military.
absolutely not for my
Um,
daughters, God no. And why
yeah.
women join the military, that still boggles my mind to this day. I can't fathom that shit.
Yeah. I love all those conversations you're having with your kids. Thinking about what's important to you, values and faith. Um, what have been some of the ways that you have lead by example? I know, but is there any practical things that you would share with men who have, children living in their homes now that you have done to um help send your kids off well? And I know we're not sending them off without still having a relationship with them, but what are the things at 18, 19, 20 that you want your kids to know as they are transitioning into building their own families, lives, etc.?
Their self-worth, man.
Mm,
If you're sending your child out your door as an adult and you're giving, "Cool kid, we made it here," and they don't know their value, they don't love themselves, they don't have
mm.
self-worth and value, it good luck.
How does one get self-worth?
From
I,
fathers, from us,
mm,
as the father telling my daughters every day how beautiful they are,
yeah.
how much what they're worth, what they contribute, who they are, how strong they are, their mind, their body, their spirit, everything, every single day, and grinding that into my daughters of how important they are and who they are, what
Mm,
they bring to the table, what they have accomplished, what they've overcome, just building that life, building your children and putting them on that pedestal. So when these boys come along or girls come along and you have a teenage son and she trust me, I know I talk a lot of like negative on the boy side of things. I see some girls that my daughter hangs out, they're just as batshit crazy as the
yeah.
boys. So I would be terrified if I had sons too. But it's just that when when the games come out and they start getting into
Mm,
their old young little adulthood, they're not falling into these temptations. They know, hey, I'm not going to just meet this guy because he's little Rico Suave tonight and bought me dinner and took me out and wine to dine me. I know who I am. And I know my morals and values. And so
mm,
it's really cool as a father, at least from my point of view. I have an 18-year-old daughter. She's only had one serious boyfriend. There's a kid that's sniffing around now. He's actually a pretty good kid. Um,
we still hate them, but go on.
Facts. But it's just, but there's never been any lines
Mm,
crossed. She's the
yeah.
worst. I mean, I'm sorry. I hate putting her blast like, but then all she's 18 years old and all she's ever done is kiss a boy. Like that's a win in my book. Okay.
Hmm.
Like I'll take it. I just made it to that point. Cool. And I'm not letting off the gas now, but it was because like she's had these boys come in and these
Hmm.
kids trying to put their hands on them. And that's where you as a father and knowing it being involved in your daughter's life shows that value. So they know, okay, I have the attention at home. My dad is filling me full of life and positive words of affirmation and constantly telling me how beautiful I am and that
Hmm.
everything that just goes into my every day as a dad that should be on your checklist. So when that kid comes along or that girl comes along and they know that the game's being played on them, they know who they are. And at the end of the day, that's what helps me sleep at night is just building that. But that all comes back to our original conversation: trust,
Yeah.
knowing your
Yeah.
morals, your values, and being there for them.
Where does faith come into that self-worth piece for
All of
you?
it. Faith is
Mm,
everything, man.
it's everything. Yeah.
I'm very blessed. My daughter, she actually since she graduated, she was a youth mentor leader for our church. Unfortunately, it's grown into a giant mega church here, but um, she'll speak in front of 800 kids and talks about who she is, and she's very open and real and raw about everything, and it's incredible. And so,
Mm,
but faith is based off of everything, man. Like I fell away from my faith for a really long time, but
mm,
but to be able to bring it back. My wife got pulled into it before I did. I grew up a pastor's kid, so when I joined the military,
mm,
I was out like just straight anarchy, gone, travel the world. God doesn't exist. None of it's real. I'm just gonna live my life, and obviously getting checked and coming back to the light. But your kids are watching. Your kids. I don't know that you probably know it, but the stats of how many kids will follow in the father's footstep that's leading a home in faith versus a wife or besides or
y-
versus the mom. It's a
yeah.
drastic difference of
I
how
just
many.
read this the other day. It's like if a dad becomes a Christian, 92% chance the family's going to follow. And
Yep,
it's like way lower if it's the mom or a kid. It's like, damn,
significant, not even
dude,
close. And
not
so
even close.
here's the
Yeah.
craziest thing for all the dudes, because like I fell on the line of faith for a long time, questioned it, not ever questioned that God existed, just good, evil, whatever comes along.
Hmm. Hmm.
I was talking to a buddy one day, and we're talking about it, money and just business and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, but you can't take it with you, so what's it worth? And he goes, you know what you can take with you to heaven? I was like, what? Because you always hear, you can't take it with you, can't take God at all, can't take it with you. He goes, the one thing that you can guarantee in heaven is your wife and kids.
Hmm.
Poof, rocked me.
Hmm.
So you mean to tell me that if I'm the leader of my home, lead my house in faith, I'm driving that boat of, hey, this is who we are, this is who we stand for. And you don't even have to go to church. It's just the talk or little scriptures or just the open conversation about your beliefs. Knowing one day that those pearly gates are gonna open up and here come my kids strolling in.
Hmm.
I'm cool with that. Cool. If that's how I can maybe do my little part to see my children again in heaven and lead my family in it, what's it gonna cost you? And I always tell people, I have some buddies that are like, they're not atheists, but they're just not believers. And I'm like, bro, if you're wrong, you're wrong.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, then then life goes
Yeah.
on.
Not a big
Nothing
deal.
changes. But if I'm right, my kids are gonna be there. My wife's gonna be there. So I'm gonna live my life following, believing, trying to be a better person. And I sin every day, dude. I fall short every day. I humble myself every day, and that's just the path of being this young baby Christian and not trying to be something that I'm not, and just learning and failing and whatever it may be. But yeah, it's very important, man. Faith is a huge part of our home for
Ye
everything.
ye Yeah, and I mean, I think the beauty of what you ended with is like, there isn't necessarily a formula to be a child of God. You are. So do you wanna act like it? And I think it's when we start trying to be a try hard at it, and it's like I am sort of like doing all these things on the outside, so like I'm doing it the right way. Um, and you grew up a pastor's kid. I grew up never missing a Sunday. So there's like a lot of like, am I doing it right? Am I being a good Christian kind of mentality that's still in the back of my head sometimes. But I think ultimately what our kids need to see is like, hey, I fail, screwed up, I'm sorry, right? Obviously, not in a toxic, like, I'm just apologizing, but I don't care, but clearly you care, right? So I think that is what our kids need is like, because I don't know, I looked at my parents a lot as a youngster that they had it all figured out. And at 42 myself, I'm like, shit, I'm barely a man. I'm like, like figuring this out all the time. But I think that's the best thing with my kids is like, just being open about that. Like we
Yep.
are on this journey of life, figuring this out together. Um, so I'm with you on it.
Full
Uh,
transparency, man. Vulnerability. If you are a dad and you want to change your life with your kids right now, vulnerability and just being honest and real and raw and
mhm,
owning your shit. When you screw up and you come home because you've been turning wrenches all day, you're dealing with some asshole boss, whatever that sat in traffic
mm,
for an hour and a half just to get home, whatever it is, and then you have those moments, but showing your kids, no, this isn't right. This isn't how a man treats you is
mm,
supposed to speak to you. This isn't how a man treats his wife. And I'm working on who I am. Like
mhm,
I'm fixing my shit as I'm trying to raise you kids because
mhm.
I'm not going to be like my parents. I'm not going to be like my dad. And so that's where it comes to, but it can't be this cycle that every time you screw up, you just apologize and it goes back to,
Yeah,
to
no,
normal again.
no.
You have to show that rock bottom vulnerability with your wife and kids, and that's what they're gonna be like, okay, like dad's trying, and
Mm,
then you, hey, you start those conversations. Hey, when you see me starting, we call it peaking in this house. Like
mm.
something will trigger me, and it'll build and build and build, and it'll start peaking over a couple of days, and now it's like, dude, my 11-year old's like, Dad, you're peaking. Like, no, not, no. And I'm like, am I? Am I? Why am I? And I'm just like wanting to fight the world. And she's like, you're
Mm.
peaking. And I'm like, fuck. Like, they might over abuse it a little bit every now and then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like when
But
they
you'd
screw,
rather that than them go in their room thinking my dad sucks and I can't say anything about it.
for sure, dude.
Ah, dads, don't
Worst.
be that dude. Don't be that
Oh,
dude that's like, oh shit, dad's coming home from work. Is he in a good mood or is he in a bad mood? Okay, everybody do your thing. Look
that's how
busy.
my dad was.
Hmm.
Hey, 30 minutes. Don't talk to your dad for 30. That was the rule my whole life growing up. I didn't know any different. 30 minutes. I don't know how dad's gonna be today. Cause my dad worked his ass off, man. My mom was a
Mm,
stay-at-home mom. We grew up pretty poor. Don't talk to dad. We need to see what mood he's in. He needs to have it decompressed and da da da. And if you're that dad, cool. But if you're driving home for an hour,
Yeah.
decompress your ass in
Figure
your
it out.
car, walk in that door fully open to your kids. And now if you need to sit in your driveway for a few extra minutes, cool, dude. Do what you got to do to get that. But when you step through that threshold or you cross that driveway and your little son's
Mm,
standing out there on his little bike, gone. Check it
mm,
all. Now
mhm.
that this is his time. The rest of the world has had you all day. This kid just wants you. And this is another really horrible statistic that I'm sure you've seen it, where they studied how much quality uninterrupted time that the average dad gets to spend with their kid a day. Came out to like
Mm.
13 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
I think last year was 30 minutes, and this year just the new study came out, it was 13 minutes. Uninterrupted quality time with the children, and on average, I believe it was 13 minutes. Let's say it's an hour a day.
Hmm.
You're spending an hour. You brought this child into this world. You're supposed to be raising them to be the next generation to accomplish amazing things. And you're going to do that with an hour a day
Hmm.
because you're going to go to the boys after this. You're going to go to the bar on the way home. You're going to go stop by here. You're going to go to the strip club, whatever it is. Meanwhile, your wife and kids are at home waiting for you.
It's like so foreign to me. But dads, if you fall in that statistic of like 13 to 30 minutes, I just say tonight, go on a walk, go on a drive, put on some music, go to ice cream, whatever. It
Yes.
doesn't matter if your garage needs cleaned, something needs fixed. Just go do something tonight, and then do it again tomorrow, and then do it again tomorrow. Somebody told me recently, don't ever trust anybody who has a perfectly clean garage. If you're
Oh, I'll,
finding
I'll be
things,
the most trusted person, dude. I'll pressure wash, clean my garage. It is the most beautiful garage, dude. Within a day, it is an
yeah,
atomic bomb.
yeah.
It is just, I don't understand it.
It's because you're taking the time to talk with your daughter, hang out with your kid, right? And so, dads, let's stop making things a priority that aren't a priority.
Or involve your kids in there. You're
I
cleaning the.
mean, shoot, yes,
Dude,
perfect.
we're those people. We put so much pressure on our kids. We involve our kids in everything.
Mm,
It's like, dude, gardening, right? I have a huge garden. We're pulling garlic. I don't want to be out pulling garlic all day. Hey, yo, get your ass outside. We're pulling garlic. You're all going to be enjoying this with me. We're all pulling garlic. Everyone's out there bitching. "Oh, it's hot out here." I don't care. We're all doing it as a family. We're all going to suck. It's all going to suck for all of us.
mm,
That's just an excuse, but like an example, but we involve your kids in everything.
yeah,
If you're mowing,
yes,
get your little kid out there, get them some little trimmer, whatever it is, find a way to get your kids involved. And if it's your daughters, cool. They might not want to be pushing a push mower around middle of August, right? Nobody wants to do that. Find something that you could do to just sit with your kid and just, dude, we have the bakery.
mhm,
We have Bannettons and we have put towels inside them. Dude, we have to fold like hundreds of towels. We will sit there as a family. Everybody bitches about it, but we all sit and we'll
but
just
you're
fold
bitching
towels
together.
for an hour. And then it just turns into story time. And then
Yeah,
they fell through the ice. Oh my God. Like, then they just use your kids will start telling you all this random shit. Before you know it, everything's folded, everything's stacked and put away. And you just got an extra 30 minutes, 45 minutes with your kids because you're involving them in something. You're folding
yeah,
laundry. If you're a mom and you're folding laundry, sit your teenage daughter down at the foot of your bed and have a
mm.
conversation with her. I know this is a dad platform, but this can go for dads
So,
too. Sit your kid
yeah,
down. If you're sitting there folding laundry, dude, I'll walk in and I got both daughters laying on our bed. There's a mound of laundry. My wife's just sitting there and she doesn't even want them to help. Just talk. Just quality time. And it's like, why? It's just those little opportunities you should always be looking for them, especially if
mm,
you're working out of the house and you're gone all day. You should find every opportunity. If you got a push mower, put a little set of headphones on your son and drive him around on that push mower.
mm,
The biggest thing, our kids don't need presents, they need us to be present.
mhm,
That's what's going to build everything. The foundation of everything that you want as a father comes off of you being present, you being in the home, you being able to listen, you be able to give good advice, not be angry. And we're all going to fail. We're all going to, trust me, I fail every day at
yes,
it. But pick back up, and those are those little milestones. Like, hey, I'm okay, cool. I'm gonna go out and trim the trees. What trim bushes? Hey, just sit your kid next to you. Hey, buddy, tell me about what happened today. What's going on? What's new in your life? No, hey, what'd you learn at school today? Different questions. Dude,
mm.
who's your favorite friend right now? What's crazy? What happened over that house? What are their parents like? Just random questions.
Get
Feel
them
that's
talking.
just get them talking. And
And
they're
if
just
you get them outside, they will do it. They will. get their phone out of their hand, get their TV out, get on
Yep.
a drive, get outside doing work together. Yeah, man, 100%. It's funny. My 13-year-old daughter is my youngest, and she mows our lawn. One day I was out there because we have pretty big yard, and we have a riding lawnmower. So it's like she's the only one who doesn't have a license. It was funny. So I started to mow the lawn. I'm like, shit, I could teach her how to do this. So I'm like, went in the house. I'm like, Stella, come out. You're doing this. No, I'm scared. I don't want to, whatever. It was like a year ago. And then now she's like, can't wait. Well, I shouldn't say can't wait. She doesn't mind mowing the lawn. She gets out there, starts it up herself, gets it all going, and has to move like these kind of boards to get it off and on, like from one grass to another. But she's out there doing it 13, and it's possible. Dad's like, you just got to teach your kids. It was dope, dude. Like the first day she did it, the old man next door, he's like been on the street forever. He built my house in 82. You know what I mean? Like he's the guy, and he's 84, 85, and he's standing on his porch watching her mow the lawn. And he's like, like this nod of like, yeah, let's go. It's good, man. Like this is the stuff. Like mowing grass is like the stuff. Folding dough is the stuff. Like these are the things that are shaping connection with families.
Yep. I tell our kids, man, and obviously everybody's different. I don't ever want my kids to leave. I don't
Yeah.
want there to be that 18 years old. I used to work with a guy and it was the saddest shit, dude. Every day he would log into his computer. First thing that would pop up was his countdown on his computer. And I asked him one day, I'm like, dude, what is that? You're always excited. Oh yeah, closer, one day closer. It's all he'd say. One day closer. And I never really gave a shit. But then one day I finally was like, yo, what is that? Like, why do you count? Oh, that's when my youngest is 18 and out of the house. I'm kid free.
Oh
I
my
cannot wait. And I'm sitting there
gosh.
going,
Are you
man, you have a
serious?
countdown on your computer till your kid's 18 and you get to kick him out of your home. And this kid came from a broken home. His older brother was a drug addict. The mom was a drug addict. Like this kid's life is just turmoil. And you as the father have a countdown to kick him out of your home. And like I tell our kids, as long as you're contributing to the home, because this all goes back into which we'll talk about it when you and I run our podcast here, we can get more into conspiracies and shit, but they're just trying to divide homes. They want you out of the house. They want you paying taxes. They want you your own mortgage, your own bills, all that stuff. So it's like, look at all these other countries, look at all the cultures around the world, all these families that live together and everybody brings everything to the home. So that's one of our rules in the house. Like, as long as you're contributing to this home, you never have to leave. I don't want you to feel that you need to go somewhere. I have my rules and I have lines and boundaries it's my home and I expect, and we can fall under all that, which aren't anything crazy and radical. It's like, hey, I don't want you coming in out of my house at 1:00 in the morning because of who I no, like there's certain lines of respect, right? Your
Yeah,
mom's
for
sleeping,
sure.
you got a younger sister, little things like that. But as far as like, dude, you're kid, you come and go. Like this is our doors are locked at this time. You know the code. Just be quiet, whatever. But the problem with my wife and I, we're not going to go to bed if a kid's out, out.
Yeah,
And
for
so,
sure.
but it's just, that's the relationship that I just want more than anything is our goal is to buy a huge chunk of property and we're working on right now so they could come back and build on one day. Like I want all of my kids on my property. I could have my grandkids there. Like that's my dream. And
Yeah, mine as
if
well.
you have a countdown till your last kid's out of the house, you as the father or as the mother, you fucked up. That's on you.
Yeah.
Your kid sucks because you raised a shitty kid because you weren't involved. I don't, dude, it's at the end of the day, man, like your kid sucks because you allowed them to suck. Every time those little flare-ups, you didn't snip it in the butt. You gave into it. And then guess what? Now you have a grown ass child that you're trying to babysit at 19, 20 years old. No wonder you want them at our house because they just play video games. They talk back. They have no respect. They disrespect everything in your home. That doesn't fall on the kid. That was
No,
taught.
that's you.
Those
That
were
was taught.
traits that were allowed to
Yeah.
happen. And so, yeah, no, just be an involved, intentional parent, and you're gonna have great kids. You're gonna have your hiccups. You're gonna have your fights and your falls.
Yeah, but it's amazing. Like, dude, I have such a good relationship with my 20-year-old. Dude, if I called her right now, she'd talk to me for a half an hour
Yep.
and be stoked,
Yep.
Dude, Bam, thank you so much. Thank you for the man you are. Thank you for your willingness to be vulnerable, to lean into what it means to be a man, a father, to find, or I should say, seek that balance of like, I will slit your throat if you hurt my family, and I'm going to cry on a podcast with my daughter and just love her and adore her. Like, that is the type of man, the type of dude that I want to be around. I'm inspired by, and we need more men like that, loving and serving their families and thinking generationally, like you're talking about. So thank you for the man you are. I look forward to our paths crossing again. Blessings to your marriage, your relationship with your kids, your businesses. And thank you, dude. And I look forward to seeing you in a week.
Tell her, bro.
All right, brother. Peace. What an incredible conversation. I love hearing the just some alternative countercultural perspectives on parenting, on school, on homeschool, on how you integrate family into life, into business, while also being out there, being like a regular family that's out in the world, living as yourself and continuing to discover your identity as a human, as a father, as a leader. Incredibly insightful, powerful, passionate conversation. If these conversations are helpful, please write a review. Help spread the word that fatherhood matters. One of the greatest things you can do is share this with a friend. Say, hey, you're a great dad. I listen to this podcast. I think it would be helpful, beneficial for you to think. And really, we want to realize who we are in our home, and we want to think big and differently for our family. So thank you, my friends, for being here. Thank you for listening to the Fatherhood Field Notes podcast. What you do matters. Don't be like everybody else. Be yourself. That's who your kids, spouse, and community needs. This is your guide, Ned Shout. Together, let's rebel against the view that fatherhood has little impact, and let's create lives engaged in mastering the craft of fatherhood. I look forward to hanging out with you next time.